Slate has given us more information about their manufacturing facility in Warsaw, Indiana, which means they are one step closer to actually producing their first vehicles. Now, when I covered Slate last week during their unveil, me and Timon went out to Los Angeles, California to see the Slate truck in person, spoke to the team to really learn about the vehicle and see what the company is all about. And I mentioned that they had found a factory somewhere in the Midwest to build their Slate vehicle. While Slate has released more information about where these vehicles specifically will be built, how many they will be building, their employees, and how they got this manufacturing facility in the first place. Now, let me say, getting a manufacturing facility as any company, just getting warehouse infrastructure is such a monumental part to success of any company. You can have the amazing prototypes and the genius employees, but if you don't have the capital and the infrastructure to get this business going, then it's absolutely pointless. But Slate has the production, the manufacturing facility, which means that they are one huge leap closer to actually making the first Slate vehicles. Now, actually getting a manufacturing facility doesn't mean, oh, production is around the corner. Now, Slate does say that they will be starting deliveries the second half. It was a Q4 of 2026, but we've seen many other companies get factories and it kind of crumble. Nikola, Canoe, Lordstown. I look at Nikola, for example, and this kind of leads into what Slate did. Nikola built this amazing manufacturing facility to build their Nikola trucks. And unfortunately, Nikola went under. And who else wanted to buy all of their infrastructure that lived around the corner? Well, Lucid Motors, who lives up the street. They pretty much bought Nikola's largest infrastructure, their headquarters, and their manufacturing facilities to use for themselves. Infrastructure is important. It's the same thing for Rivian. Rivian bought an old Mitsubishi factory in Normal, Illinois after Mitsubishi went bankrupt and kind of briefly left the United States. They bought that factory, and that's where we see production of the R1T, R1S, and the RCV, and soon the R2. And the biggest of them all, Tesla's Fremont factory. That was a factory from a joint venture between General Motors and Toyota that went bankrupt in 2009. 2010, Tesla bought it, and that is where we see production of the Model S, the Model X, the 3, the Y. It is the birthplace of Tesla vehicles. So getting a manufacturing facility is important, and finding a manufacturing facility from a pre-existing company, well, it gives you a lot of benefits. Well, everything has already been built, so you don't have to go through all of the costs of having to build your own manufacturing facility. That can take years. But on the other side, you often can get it at a pretty good price. Tesla, Lucid, and Rivian, companies that bought factories from bankrupt companies, you often get these factories at a huge discount because, well, these companies are trying to sell off some of their assets, recuperate some money, and so you end up getting these buildings, this infrastructure, for a pretty good price. Now, in Slate's case, their factory didn't come from an old auto manufacturer. It actually came from a print marketing company. So, a company that would print paper magazines and ads that would likely go in your mail and then into the trash. R.R. Dinelli was the company. Slate bought this factory from them. R.R. Dinelli went bankrupt in like late 2023, and then Slate has acquired this factory. They say they're going to have to put hundreds of millions of dollars of work into the factory. Of course, it is a paper factory. They're now going to have to, of course, turn this into an auto manufacturing facility, but it has the space. It's near train tracks. It has lots of parking. It has the walls. It has the offices. It has the basics for what you need to make an auto manufacturing facility. So if you can gut this out and put your own auto manufacturing equipment in, make use of pre-existing infrastructure, why not? Now, Slate's factory is a 1.4 million square foot factory located in Warsaw, Indiana, about 2 hours from Chicago, 2 hours from Indianapolis, or about an hour away from Fort Wayne, Indiana. This factory will employ about 2,000 people, and Slate is looking to produce over 150 150,000 vehicles, 150,000 Slate trucks annually. For context, Tesla's Gigafactory in Austin, Texas is over 10 million square feet, but 150,000 Slate trucks, new company, they're not going to need a crazy amount of room. I wonder what made them pick a building in Warsaw, Indiana. Same thing for a company like Rivian. Why did they pick a building in Normal, Illinois? I figure there may be other manufacturing facilities, specifically in Slate's case, a auto manufacturing facility. They picked a manufacturing facility from a paper media marketing company, but I'm sure they could have found a auto manufacturing facility from an old auto manufacturer somewhere else in the Midwest, like Canoe's facility in Ohio or Lordstown's facility in Lordstown, Ohio. Canoe's Oklahoma, sorry. But there are other manufacturing facilities. So I wonder what made them pick this. But it is the location that they picked. And as I've said, they're going to have to put hundreds of millions of dollars of work into the building to get it to a point to actually produce vehicles. Then they're going to have to ramp the vehicles, then produce them. And that's when things start to get interesting. It is also worth mentioning that Slate is headquartered in Michigan. They have a design team in California, but Michigan is right above Indiana. So kind of the manufacturing facility and headquarters right there makes sense. Also, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, such a big place for auto manufacturing. Guess it just makes sense. The Midwest is coming back. Now, besides the fact that I am excited that we could see another EV auto manufacturer soon out there on the roads selling vehicles, I am still hesitant about this Slate EV. Now, I watch you guys, yes, you watching this video, I watch you complain about infotainment and software of your EV, the driving, the suspension. Oh, the suspension so bad. Range, charging, lack of app support. I mean, all of these things, and you're telling me that you're going to buy a vehicle that has absolutely none of it, okay? Cheapest suspension possible, small battery, poor range, poor charging, no infotainment, nothing, no speakers. Some of you complain about the audio in your vehicles. This car doesn't even have speakers. You're going to be using a portable Bluetooth speaker. And you're telling me that this is the vehicle that you're excited for. I think a lot of you are lying, okay? I think you're all posers. I think a lot of you are lying. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the online opinions and people in real life really want something like this. And I hope it is that way. I hope people are actually interested in something like this. I know that I am, but totally speaking from a market opinion, seeing what people in the market typically buy, this Slate truck doesn't really seem to be that. But I'm hoping that Slate actually changes the automotive market. They change what people are used to. Instead of trying to buy the most loaded vehicle possible, they buy something simple, easy to use, something that they can build on top of, and something that they're fine with getting the most bare bones version of. Bring bare bone version vehicles back. All right, base model trim, right, rear wheel drive, manual windows. I am fine with that. But again, market so far doesn't really seem to appreciate that. On the flip side, the fact that it is a truck, I imagine a lot of people will actually be opting in for the SUV kit. I think I mentioned this in the last video, but I'm surprised they didn't just start with, or at least try to tout the SUV kit the most. We already see EV truck sales, and we'll probably make a video about that in the future. But EV truck sales are nowhere near that of gas internal combustion EV sales and in terms of percentage, versus midsize SUVs are totally taking over in the EV space. And so an SUV might work a little better. Of course, we have a ton of other trucks in the space: Lightning, R1T, Cybertruck. You got Tello coming. Like, the truck space is hot. It's heating up, but sales aren't really showing that that's what people really want. They want SUVs. And so I think maybe Tello should revisit that strategy. But those are all my, crazy business-minded opinions. I'm curious to know what you guys actually think, because in the last video, a lot of people are like, hey, no, people love to customize their vehicles. And it made me happy to see that people are actually interested in this thing, because when I was reviewing it and I was taking video, I was doubtful. But I don't know. I think this is a situation where a lot of people are saying one thing, and when it actually comes to market, they may actually do the total opposite. We'll see. Let me know down in the comments below, but I am excited. Manufacturing facility from Slate is in the works. This means Slate is one step closer to producing their Slate truck. My name is Isaiah. This is Out of Spec Bits, and I will see you guys in the next one.